The regional interim administration has been working in restoring peace, security, and stability in the region. This was one of the priority areas of the interim administration. And in this regard, there are some encouraging progresses. For example, one of the issues that should be addressed in this regard is to disarm the militias and the special forces in the region. So in this regard, many militias has been, I think, disarmed, and also many of the special forces has been returned peacefully and collaborating with the security forces in the region. So especially in the capital in Mekelle, the peace and stability is improving from time to time. People have already resumed their regular activities, and some of the service providers have already resumed their provisions. So in this regard, in this very short period of time, this progress is, I think, encouraging for us. The other important point is in relation to ensuring that the public services resume their functions, and we have invited the civil servants to return and resume their services. And in this regard, in many of the government service providers bureaus, almost 18% and 90% of the civil servants have reported and started their service. This is also encouraging. And we will expand these achievements to the other zones and woredas. So in this regard, also we are doing our best again to reorganize the governance structure of the regional administration, especially from the lower administration structure, Kabeles and woredas. In this regard, I think we achieved so far a very encouraging, I think, move, especially in reorganizing Kabeles administration and also woreda administration. We have already assigned heads of the zonal administration in almost 6 zones. So this by itself will help us to speed up the reorganization of the governance structure of the regional administration, and they are doing well. And also in terms of the law enforcement operation is going well throughout the region. So we are now working collaboratively with the security forces, especially in the command post, the regional interim administration, I think, a member of this command post in the region. The command post is also working well in this regard, because, ensuring peace and stability and security in the region requires an integrated approach, the interim administration and the security forces. So in this regard, I think there is a good start, and hopefully, if we continue this way, we'll restore the peace, stability, and security in the region. One of the tasks of the interim administration is to reorganize also the cabinet of the region by assigning the appropriate bureau heads. We have done a lot in this regard. Almost all bureau heads in the region are already we assigned very appropriate and qualified and committed people, and the bureaus have already started their operation this time. And one of the challenges was lack of power supply, and also telecom and bank services. In this regard, especially uh, in the what you call this infrastructure side, we have achieved a lot in terms of the supply of the power in the region. So Mekelle in the city, already the telecom, the power supply, and the banks have already started their operation. This helps us to strengthen the public service provision for the people, and this will continue also in those cities and zones. In this regard, in terms of electric power supply, already some of the zones, southern zones, fully they have got the power supply. Eastern zone until Adigrat and also Abiy Adi. So almost in these areas, they have got this supply of electric power. Parallelly, we are working on, again, ensuring that the telecom service, I think, resumes its operation, and the maintenance activities are now going well. Hopefully, in the coming few days, if the telecom starts its service, automatically the bank service will operate. So this helps us to restore, I think, the normal day-to-day activities of the people and also the service providers. We have been engaged in public dialogue in many parts of the region. So I think the response of the population, the public, is very, very encouraging. I think they have been waiting for the new administration, and in our all discussions, the people has condemned the evil activities of the TPLF regime, especially in attacking the National Defense Force. This was totally condemned by the public, because the people has, I think, has been fall in this current situation. It's because of the National Defense Force was attacked by some of the TPLF regime. So this was totally, I think, condemned by the public, and the public has ensured that they stand with the new interim administration. So this is really encouraging. We'll continue with such public dialogue to the other areas, cities and waradas very soon. And this helps us to create awareness. People should realize the reality, what's happening in the region, and why the people have faced such challenges this time. And such dialogues makes clear for the public to make, I think, to realize the root cause of the problem. And such dialogue also helps us to strengthen the initiatives and our initiatives and engagement in restoring peace and stability in the region. With regard to the support in general from the federal government, for example, in terms of humanitarian assistance, in terms of recovery, rehabilitation, and in terms of the budget, I think the commitment of the federal government is very, very highly appreciated, because we will not have a problem in this regard, because the federal government is committed to provide the required budget for the region. Especially, they support the interim administration to operate fully in the region. So we will not have a problem, budgetary problem this time. The only thing is to resume the normal operations of this public service, especially the bureaus, up to the grassroots level, especially Kabilas and Waradas. If that's okay, I think the budgetary issue will not be a challenge for us because the federal government has, I think, already committed itself to provide support. The other important point is there is a very huge demand humanitarian assistance because many people are now at risk in terms of food supply. So this is also going well. The relief and the emergency activities are working well in the region. We have already started providing food supply to the needy population at all levels. And we have agreed with the responsible federal government sectors to speed up and to strengthen this activity because this is one of the priority areas because people should get food and all basic necessities. So in this regard, the flow is very good, but the only thing is to strengthen, I think, the distribution to all waradas and cities. So this is also going well, and we'll strengthen this activity until we address all the population in the region. One of our priorities is the rehabilitation and humanitarian assistance, and this should continue, especially in coordination with the federal government. The other is the restoring the peace, stability, and security in the region. We will also continue working on this until we ensure that the region is, I think, clear from these criminals, and we have to engage the population at large in restoring peace and stability. So we'll continue on this area. The other is the humanitarian assistance, and we'll continue also. This is our priority. In addition to this, we have a major plan about the recovery issue because in this process there are some damage of some infrastructure, and also so in this regard we have to address. So to address this problem, we have already started assessment, damage assessment at all levels, and based on this, I think we'll start the recovery operations. Some programs should be designed in collaboration with the federal government, and we'll also address this problem, the recovery activities. And the other important point is, I think there is a plan for the 6th election, and in the entire region, we are now creating conducive environment for the upcoming 6th national election. In this regard, we have already invited all opposition parties to operate in the region. And one of the tasks of the interim administration in the region is to create, to make the playground and the rule of the game equal for all opposition parties. If this is, I think, achieved, the people of Tigray will freely elect their leaders and establish their administration freely and peacefully. That is the ultimate objective of this interim administration. After that, the interim administration will hand over to the elected government in the region. But to do that, we believe that the upcoming election should be free, transparent, objective, and trustful and democratic. So to do this, we believe that we have to create a conducive environment, especially in terms of creating equal opportunity for all opposition parties to operate in the region. As a gesture in this regard, we have also involved leaders of, or some members of the opposition party as members of the cabinet, regional cabinet. Some of the members of the opposition party are assigned as bureau heads. So this is simply to demonstrate that the interim administration is inclusive. From now onwards, there is no individual or group or population that is to be excluded from any participation in the region. So everybody, every group will have equal opportunity in the region. So there is no one to be excluded from the political participation, economic participation in Tigray from now onwards.